There's a one-sentence rule that lowered blood pressure, improved heart rate recovery, and fixed daytime blood sugar control in adults over 35 without changing a single thing about what they ate, how much they exercised, or how many calories they consumed. This is just one rule, and it works in about 7 weeks. I'll let you know what it is right now because I don't believe in burying the answer to the end of this video. The rule is this: stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed. That's it. That's the whole intervention. The reason it works and the reason why 3 hours is the specific number is where that gets really interesting. Because if you understand the biology behind it, you'll never argue with yourself about a late night snack again. In February 2026, researchers at Northwestern Medicine published a study in the Cardiovascular Journal of the American Heart Association. It's a serious peer-reviewed publication. They took 39 overweight adults between the ages of 35 and 75, all at elevated risk for metabolic disease. They split them into two groups. The first group kept eating the way they normally did. The second group did one thing differently. They stopped eating 3 hours before bed and extended their overnight fast by about 2 hours. That's the entire intervention. Nobody cut calories. Nobody changed what they ate. Nobody added exercise. They just closed the kitchen 3 hours before they turned the lights out. After 7.5 weeks, here's what the data showed. The fasting group had a 3.5% improvement in nighttime blood pressure dipping. They had a 5% improvement in heart rate recovery during sleep. And this is the part that matters the most for fat loss. Their pancreas started responding to food the way it's supposed to. Their daytime blood sugar control improved. Their insulin release became more efficient. And remember, no calorie restriction, no weight loss required. The metabolic improvement came from timing alone. So why 3 hours? Why not 2? Why not 4? The answer comes down to one hormone, melatonin. Most people think of melatonin as a sleep hormone, and it is, but it's also a metabolic signal. About 2 to 3 hours before your normal bedtime, your brain starts releasing melatonin, and that melatonin doesn't just travel to your sleep centers, it also binds directly to your pancreas, specifically to the beta cells, the cells that make insulin. When melatonin binds to those receptors, it tells your pancreas to slow down. It blunts your insulin response. It's kind of your body's way of saying, we're closing up shop for the night, stop digesting. So if you eat dinner 1 hour before bed, when melatonin is already high, you've just delivered a meal to your pancreas that's been told to clock out. Your insulin response is impaired. Your blood sugar runs higher than it should. And the calories you just ate are far more likely to end up in your fat cells instead of being used for energy. 3 hours is the number because that's roughly when melatonin starts rising. Stop eating before that window opens and you avoid the collision entirely. Now here's where it gets practical. You may have heard a similar rule before. Stop eating 2 hours before bed. This is actually the common recommendation in Japan, where it's been part of public health guidance for years. So I went looking for the data on the 2-hour rule, expecting to find some good evidence. I didn't. A Japanese cohort study followed thousands of middle-aged and older adults for 3 years and looked specifically at the 2-hour gap. The result: no significant improvement in hemoglobin A1C, no real metabolic benefit. The 2-hour buffer wasn't enough to clear the melatonin window. The 3-hour rule, the one Northwestern tested, is the minimum dose that actually changes the biology. 2 hours is well-intentioned, but it's the metabolic equivalent of stopping your antibiotics 3 days early. Close enough just doesn't count. So how do you put this into practice? First, work backwards from your bedtime. If you go to bed at 10, your last bite of food should happen by about 7 p.m. If you go to bed at 11, your cutoff is 8. Pick the time, set it as a non-negotiable. Second, don't try to extend the rest of your day to make up for it. If you've been eating dinner at 9, you don't suddenly need a bigger lunch. Your body will adjust. The hunger window between dinner and bed is normal. It's the window your metabolism was designed to operate in. And third, this is the one most people miss. If you genuinely need something in that 3-hour window, make it small and make it protein. Not a bowl of cereal, not a glass of wine, not a handful of crackers. Carbohydrates and alcohol in that window are what break the protocol. A small piece of protein won't ruin you, but the most evidence-supported answer is still close the kitchen, brush your teeth, and trust that you're not actually going to starve in the next 3 hours. This is the easiest single change you can make for fat loss as we age. It costs you nothing. It doesn't require new food. It doesn't require willpower at every meal. It requires one decision about when you stop. And the science is now strong enough that I think every adult over 35 dealing with weight, blood pressure, blood sugar issues should be doing this by default. Try it for 2 weeks. Pay attention to how you feel when you wake up. The morning is where you're going to notice it first. If you want to know whether late eating is affecting your metabolism right now, I built a free 5-minute metabolic health assessment that I can give you a personalized score. The link is in the description. Take this, it'll tell you exactly where you stand.